No bones, we need no skin. Just a polished exoskeleton. Every game that I'm in, I win. All your best efforts are an imitation. You showed up just to get smacked down. I found you without leading you now. Stepped into the ring, but you can't shake the king. Rock picking trash, and I take you out. No bones, we need no skin. Just a polished exoskeleton. Every game that I'm in, I win. All your best efforts are an imitation.
All you have to do is capture the mission area. That's what Galactus said.
Oh, wait, what? Wait, do
Nice.
Oh, I was waiting for us to get a visual on the thing before we start.
Well, you have one now.
All right, so hello everybody. Welcome to the very professional fan cast. Oh gosh, I'm already messing it up. Welcome to the Fan Battle Cast, where we debate death battle matchups that aren't covered by the mainline show. I will be your first-time host today, Zorro, of no affiliations, and today we will be debating very interesting matchup today. We'll be going over Kasumi Yoshizawa from Persona and Shin Megami Tensei, and a newcomer to both the fan cast and Death Battle in general, Hibiki Tachibana from Symphogear. joining me today is going to be the ones pitching this matchup, JackOfAllTrades and SwagJames 33. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hello, everyone. I'm the Jack of all trades, master of none,
Hello.
longtime Death Battle fan, and trailer maker.
Okay.
I'm just the guy that's just here in this community. Like, nice.
All right.
nice
All
to
right.
meet
I was
y'all.
waiting for you to say something.
Same.
All right, and representing our newcomer to the magical girl genre, we have StrangeFate,
Hello.
Symphogear fan and magical girl fan. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, I am StrangeFate, fan of all magical girl stuff, and today I will be doing my best to make any arguments I can for Hibiki.
Oh, she'll need it, especially since this will be a lot of people's first introduction to Symphogear. So no pressure.
Gee, thanks for saying that part.
Don't worry, you're just up against one of the most overpowered verses of all time.
I sure do
Dude,
love those
spoilers.
stats.
Yeah. We'll save it for the debate, people. But since you mention it, why don't you introduce yourself? We have Mr. Karabachi, our resident Shimigami Tensei expert.
Hello, I am the Kagurabachi. I play Jeff in Marvel Rivals.
Respect.
All right, so StrangeFate has already made the better impression.
Oh no! Come on, like the little shark thing,
Hey,
please.
as a fellow support player, I respect you.
Okay, but like as a Jeff the Shark, do you respect that as a support character?
I blow
Yes.
bubbles on my teammates, alright? Come on.
And last but certainly not least, we have Polaris. He's not debating, he's on the jury, but you know, he just wanted to be here.
I also play Moon Knight in Marvel Rivals.
Okay,
Yeah, someone
I
get
don't
this
like
guy
you.
out of here.
Dude, you keep digging yourself into a deeper hole, and we haven't even talked about the matchup.
Damn.
All right, but yeah, now that we've kind of introduced ourselves, why don't we? Is there anything you guys want to say before we kind of dive into this matchup?
Not that I can think of.
I'm ready to start whenever you are.
All right, then let us not keep the people waiting. Seeing how Symphogear is the newcomer of all this, StrangeFate, would you like your 60-second introduction first?
Sure. All right, just give me one.
All right. Okay, so we have a man in the chair. I don't actually know how to signal to start the 60-second countdown. So, oh wait, just. Oh, all right. On 3. 1, 2, 3, go.
All right, so Symphogear. It is a magical girl show, but it also blends elements together from genres such as tokusatsu and mecha anime. The main protagonist, Hibiki Tachibana, basically her whole thing is singing, hence the whole part of Symphogear, which is used for transformation as well as how they empower themselves in the first place. Hibiki herself basically goes against the standard magical girl concept, though, where instead of just boom, big flashy effect win, it's more of what tokusatsu does, where it's an emphasis on martial arts. And, well, she punches a lot. I'm trying to think of how else to simplify this. Watch Symphogear, I guess. I don't know.
All right. Good introduction, Punch Lady.
Yeah.
All right, so, Karabachi, are you ready for your 60-second intro?
Alright, if you haven't played Persona, well, too bad. Get ready for spoilers.
Don't worry, it's this community. You're good.
Yeah,
That's-
who even plays Persona?
What is
Nobody
this
plays
Persona?
Persona. All right, 60 seconds. Has my 60 seconds begun?
No, on 3.
Oh.
1, 2, 3, go.
Kasumi Yoshizawa was a high school girl who was incredibly popular, a gymnast, an athlete. And then one day, she was ran over by a car and died. Which brings us to her younger sister, Sumire Yoshizawa, who, under the influence of Dr. Maruki, took the name of her dead sister and her identity. Later on, Kasumi, or Sumire, awakened to her persona. And in persona, personas are basically the manifestation of your other self. You could say your true self. After this, she went on many, I would say, little adventures until the 3rd semester. And that's where we'll start there.
You still have 10 seconds.
Oh, it's still at 10 seconds? Oh, I
Well,
thought
more
this
like
week
5.
would stop. Well, until the 3rd semester, she helped out Joker and his
Okay.
friends. You know,
You ran out of time.
that's fair.
That is literally just a Persona phrase right there. You ran out of time.
I'm out of time. March 5th. No.
Unable to max out your
Praise.
support ranks. You
You
do not get the secret ending.
No secret ending. That's so sad.
Rip.
Oh man, we'll never get Persona 6.
We'll never get Persona.
Oh,
Atlas, please.
okay. So the stream seems to be on a delay, but came a little later. But I think we still got good introductions.
Do we know like how long the delay is?
It's being weird.
I don't know. Sure. Do we know the delay?
Oops. Wait, hold on a minute. Just like do it.
All right.
Well, mistakes have been made. So, as we kind of just make up for that, how about we give the opening floor back over to Hibiki and hear what she has to bring to the table in terms of what she can do in this debate.
Show away, Strange.
Take it away.
All right, so Hibiki, as I said earlier, her whole shtick is, well, she punches. But okay, so do you want me to just like go over her abilities essentially?
Yeah. Like,
All right, so Hibiki's whole thing is that she wields a relic known as the Gunyer, which in her case allows her to punch well. Specifically, if I'm correct, is through the use of rockets and pistons that empower her punches. Just like a magical girl, she can also fly through the air, and somehow she also can just straight up do a JoJo reference because she can just do rapid fire punches. Also, naturally, she has various transformations, the most notable one probably being Ignite Module, which is important in the sense that while it has a time limit to it, its time limit is a long 999 seconds. If Persona would like to go at all, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I could go over the stuff that Violet can do. I'll just call her Violet for now.
All right.
That's her Phantom Thief name, if you're wondering.
good.
I'll probably
good.
call her that for the rest of just to avoid confusing.
All right.
Consistency is good.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, what Violet can bring to the table, as we all know, Violet has a persona, the manifestation of your other self. She can summon this entity. She has 3 like stages of persona, but I will just be using her strongest, which is Ella. Ella is Faith Arcana persona. She can her main thing is light magic. Violet can cast light magic spells, which do heavy bless damage. She also has some physical attacks as well as healing. She can also cast healing magic spells. And she has some passive abilities as well that I think is going to be very useful for this debate.
All right.
If you need to name them.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. She has this dance passive, which halves the hit rate of all incoming attacks. So if anybody tries to attack her, there's a 50% chance they're just going to straight up miss. She has Blessed Amp, which increases her Blessed attacks by 50%. And she can also increase her physical damage by an insane amount with Brave Step.
Right.
All right, so it seems like we got some power, some self-healing capabilities. I'm curious, like, I have played a bit of the Persona games, but is it possible for non-Persona users to damage Personas in any way? Like, how does that work?
Okay, so if it's possible to damage Persona users, I'd say it depends on what you're capable of interacting with. So if you were just normal average human guy and you tried to shoot a Persona, I don't think that would do anything. But if you have like you're a wizard or something, you could probably hurt a Persona. But if you do hurt a Persona, it won't do much until you actually destroyed it. And if you destroy a Persona, it's not going to kill the user. It's just going to cause some mental pain to them. They'll resummon their Persona in like a few seconds after. So,
Ooh. All right, that is very interesting. So, Stranger Fate, do you think Hibiki has anything to really combat a Persona? So, like, what can she do against that?
Well, she's not exactly a stranger to fighting against the supernatural. After all, being a magical girl show, that's what she fights against on a daily basis. The enemies of Symphogear are known as the Noise, which, while not personas, are completely immune to being damaged by conventional human weaponry. Even military weapons that have been stated as being strong enough to destroy mountains were virtually incapable of even just doing damage to the Noise in the first place. Yet, thanks to the power of the Symphogears, Hibiki is able to just straight up kill them. So I don't think it's unreasonable to say she could absolutely not only interact with Sumira's persona, but also possibly even cause a persona break.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah. I will double check in with our pitchers just to verify.
Oh. Huh?
So, since you guys are pitching the matchup, you guys have like kind of the final say on like any special rulings or whatnot for the matchup. So, do you think Hibiki could theoretically interact and break Persona?
I'd say so.
I don't see why not. It's not like there's any specific rules stating a persona can't be broken by anything. These aren't stands.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well-
fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that's
Well,
fine.
it's just that they can't be broken by mundane conventional methods. They can be broken if you have supernatural powers.
Yeah,
Hibiki
Symphogears can pretty much qualify under that.
Yeah.
qualifies that big time.
All right. Just wanted to make sure that this, magic they used to destroy the Noise wasn't just like a Noise exclusive thing and could be
It's not.
translated.
For example, other Symphogear users have fought against each other before. Hibiki has fought against numerous of them, in fact, and well, she's been able to harm them just fine. And she's been harmed by others that aren't the noise. So it's not just a noise exclusive thing, it's just very good for fighting against them.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So I guess my next question would be, because like Kasumi has like the self-healing.
Oh, you want me to
So-
get into that?
Oh, yeah, just kind of like, because both can really interact with each other well, so I'm just trying to figure out like how long can like each one of them go in combat, like, because that seems to be one of the things right now where it's like both can really hit each other. So can they take it? Can they take hits as strong as they can deal them? Basically.
Oh, they
Yes.
can. They can.
Funny you do mention Samira being able to heal. Hibiki does technically have a form that she's used in the past that she could heal with. I don't know if I don't remember if she can still access it, but in earlier seasons she did have a berserker form which let her heal from wounds as severe as having an arm ripped off. Yeah, in a few seconds she just completely regenerated the arm.
Yeah,
Oh.
I could get into some healing stuff. Could you bring up anti-Sakuna technique 1?
What?
No, not Sakuna.
Neat name there.
Yeah, it's a neat name, of course.
Oh man, he named his slides.
Yeah.
Oh.
So over here, this is from the Persona Q manga.
Right.
The character here uses an attack that completely takes off this shadow's arm. And could you bring up anti-Sakuna technique 2? This other shadow casts his diorama, which is the healing spell, completely regenerating the arm that was just lost. And Sumeri, or Violet actually, has the superior version of this spell. She has Girahan, which completely and fully heals. So if we were comparing healing, like the arm being ripped off, that's good. But I'd say it's kind of outclassed here because this is not even the strongest spell. This is just diorama, and Violet has Dirahan, which is definitively the superior version of that spell.
Right.
All right, but like,
Mm-hmm.
so you're saying that like the superior, but is there anything that really supports the fact that like you could regenerate an entire lost limb from it? Because we've only seen it like reattach.
No, it's that is the arm it's not being reattached. It's literally regrowing it.
Oh,
Yeah,
could
the
you
arm
bring
is
that
lost.
again?
Like the arm is lost from that.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm just taking a look. Oh, yeah. It's because it looks like it's reattaching.
I think that may just be the art, but the way it is said in the manga, it's a regrowing. It's not. It's regeneration.
Oh,
Right.
oh, yeah. That's my issue. I didn't read.
Interesting.
Oh.
So, is there any like energy requirement for Hibiki to like heal? Because I know Violet has to like actually spend points to heal.
Hibiki does not have that type of a limit. She does not have like a resource meter as far as I remember.
All right, but
Mhm.
does she have like any stamina meter? Like, you mentioned that she used to have like this berserk form, but you were unsure if she still had access to it. Like, why don't we talk a little bit about the nature of her transformations? Because it
All right.
seems...
All right, I'm just pulling something up quickly to refresh myself quickly.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Oh. No, I remember like I did like have a thing that explained Hibiki's transformations. If you want me to explain or not.
All right, so from what I remember, I believe if I'm remembering correctly, the main thing that essentially triggers that essentially had triggered the ignite that essentially triggered the berserk mode, from what I remember, typically came from the relic itself. it usually came from either failing with, I believe it was the Ignite module specifically, or I believe it could also be triggered through severe negative emotions, which in a fight to the death, yeah, that's definitely going to happen at some point.
Mm. Well, does Hibiki have any defense against mental attacks?
What type of mental attacks are we talking about specifically?
All right, so Violet has the ability to cause the dizzy status effect, which makes you extremely dizzy. It is like a mental attack that causes you to not really be focused on anything. So if Hibiki is unable to like counter that, she's going to feel extreme dizziness as she fights, which is not a very good thing.
To my knowledge, she hasn't had to combat something like that before, so I don't believe she has anything specifically to counter that.
All right. So I guess I have a question about like the regeneration process because it might affect this. Like, is it a conscious choice that she is doing to focus on her healing? Or is it just like something that happens automatically in reaction to her emotional state?
For Hibiki?
Yeah, for Hibiki.
It's just something that kind of happens automatically. It's when she's in Berserker, it's basically just a passive healing.
Oh, all right. So doesn't completely negate, but you know, good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
I get into some other stuff. Unless you want to go, do you want to Strange Fate?
If you want to bring up if you have some other stuff you want to bring up, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I would like to bring up something really ridiculous, actually. So could you pull up Risei Senses 1? So everyone should know the character Risei Kujikawa from Persona 4. As we all know, her senses, she can feel out anything with her senses, right?
Right.
Yep.
And her sensory abilities are insane. Could you bring up Risei Senses 2? Here she is sensing everything across the town. All across the town of Inaba, which is it may be a small country town in Japan, but those are still pretty big. So, you know. Risei Senses 3. This is her sensing the entire labyrinth within the Q games. And the labyrinths are pretty much its own dimension. So her sensory capabilities are absolutely crazy. Risei, could you bring up Risei Senses 4? So the context to this is that Risei is in the TV world, but she is sensing Fuka from outside the TV world. So she straight up is sensing a person from another dimension.
Huh.
And Risei Senses 5.
Oh, it's still getting better. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Here, Mitsuru directly compares Risei's sensing ability to Fuka's. Fuka was able to sense the entire battle in the depths of the Sea of Soul, which is crazy. Once again, another crazy sensory ability. And why I'm bringing this up is could you bring up Aiga Sneaky? So Aigus manages to sneak up on Risei, avoiding her detection. Could you bring up Aegis Sneaky 2? As we see here, Rise is completely caught off guard by Aegis. Now, the reason why I bring all this up is because the Phantom Thieves are considered the superior Persona users of stealth. They have mastered stealth. They are better than Aegis at stealth. And the fact that Aegis was able to do this means that throughout the battle, Violet is going to be able to sneak around and avoid detection from Hibiki. Hibiki will not be able to sense where she is at all. And that is going to be a crazy advantage for Violet in this battle, unless Hibiki has some crazy sensory abilities I don't know about. I don't know how Hibiki gets around this.
Well, hold on. Like, where is it stated that the Phantom Thieves are better at Aegis at stealth?
Hold on, let me check.
I was wondering where you were going with all this.
I was wondering why I was hearing why you were just constantly saying Aegis versus Hibiki, essentially.
I wasn't saying Aegis versus Hibiki. I was.
No, like, I get the trail of thought. We're just missing that one thing that connects Phantom Thieves to Aegis scaling. And I guess while you're...
It's the fact that Persona users...
Q2?
Q2, yes, Q2. It's Q2, specifically. I think. Oh, shit! Damn it, I forgot the scan.
Oh, no.
And
Oh, tragic.
Well, just
that's
thinking
unfortunate.
about how it works in games, the Phantom Thieves are able to sneak circles around
Dang.
shadows, whereas Aegis kind of can't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It does. It is like that. Like the Phantom Thieves sneak around shadows. Aegis doesn't sneak around shadows, so that is something to bring up. But man, I'm really sorry, guys. I fucked up.
No, you don't
could
have
be
to
worse.
apologize to us. You just have to apologize to Persona.
I'm sorry, Persona.
You will no
That's
longer get
fine.
Persona 6.
Oh, damn. But yeah. So that is one of my arguments, though. Don't worry.
All right.
But-
Well, go ahead if you have a finishing thought on that.
Finishing thought, I do think this is accurate because other Persona summoners have been able to achieve similar things. So it's not like this is a one-off thing, you know?
All right.
Right.
Going back to Symphogear, like, you can try to argue against that point, or if you think Hibiki has like another kind of win con, or like if you want to propose a question for something like, you know, oh, do you think she can handle this? Like, what is the extent of Hibiki's abilities?
So going to the stealth thing quickly, I will address that at least. I'm not going to deny Hibiki doesn't have like... She's probably not going to send someone like Sumire stealthing around her, but at the same time, she also doesn't have to. But while I did mention she obviously focuses on punching, that doesn't just mean she's limited to precise strikes. Because if anything, one of her most common things she can unleash is just massive AoE punches that cover entire areas with either shockwaves or even just sometimes fire. So forget the whole stealth thing, because suddenly you're getting hit by suddenly you're just getting hit by an attack that covers a massive area anyway.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking.
Yeah. How massive are we talking about? Like,
Symphogear attacks at their most powerful have at points gotten to reaching from the surface to outer space.
That's a pretty massive range. That's Dragon Ball Z levels.
yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna hit most of the area around you.
Now, granted,
it's like-
that does usually mean like the strongest of her attacks, but even some of Hibiki's like standard attacks are still covering like even just at worst several meters in front of her.
Well, yeah, like, you could be hiding in a building, but that doesn't matter if she could tear down the building with you in it.
Oh, that's a nice building you're hiding in. Why don't I just blow up the entire building anyway? Have fun.
Very funny. That's actually pretty fun. That would be a funny thing in the if there was an animation for this. Violet just hides, and Hibiki just straight up cannot find her. So she just decides to nuke everything.
Actually in character to do though.
That stealth won't mean anything when there's nothing to hide behind.
Yeah. We talked a lot about abilities, right?
Yeah.
They. Do we want to get into some stats now? Or...
Yeah.
Sure, I guess.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
Like,
I do have
have
a few more
general
abilities.
idea.
I do have a few more
Sure, why
abilities.
not?
I'll share that near the end after the stats.
I could probably bring up one more thing ability-wise for Hibiki. It's not something I would say is necessarily that I don't know if could be translated immediately to a win condition, but I don't have anywhere else I could really jam it in. So if we could bring up for Hibiki reference number 3, that'd be great.
Hello?
It should be in the doc, I think.
Pardon us, we are having some minor technical difficulties. Oh, here we go.
All right, so to read it out, in the end, the source was neither Hibiki or Gunyur. It was the concept of Gunyur, its very existence having become warped after thousands of years through the power of words. It's different from the Symphogear, which uses the power of song, and rather is classified as a philosophical armament. It does more than simply overpower the seeming immortality of divine forms. In fact, due to the special property of Hibiki's armed gear, Reach and Connect, it can deliver a blow to every target throughout all parallel universes at the same time. This leaves no opportunity for one version to become a scapegoat for another. It is a merciless spearhead that pierces them all simultaneously.
Oh.
Oh!
Wow, all right.
Okay, so it doesn't even matter if Samir could, like, out-stealth dimensional sensory capabilities. If Hibiki can just say, okay, well, I could just punch through dimensions anyway, so...
If from what I remember of the context of it, this was specifically being that, and I may be remembering this slightly wrong, but there was someone who was essentially regenerating by utilizing parallel universe versions of themselves.
So like Funny Valentine?
To like sacrifice themselves, essentially. So rather than just constantly eliminate one after the other, he has a special property that allowed her to just target all parallel universe versions at once, bypassing that in the process.
Imagine you're just going about your day, and then suddenly you just get punched, and without any context or warning.
Wow.
That's so ridiculous.
Well, that's an interesting visual.
That is an
Oh,
interesting
okay.
visual. Yeah.
All right, so
Definitely.
that's crazy. So now that we know how they can punch, let's find out the stats and see how hard these interdimensional punches actually hurt. Let's dive into some stats.
All right.
Let's see. Actually, do we want to start with strength or speed? Oh, StrangeFate.
Yeah. Let's start with strength, and then speed, and then we can go from there.
All right, so I guess for strength, I'll start out for Hibiki with what's definitively canon, because I do have some stuff that's questionable later on to bring up, more so as a last resort, but this is what's definitive. So I have 2 feats to bring up. The first one that basically just establish each other as like arguments together. So the first one I'd like to bring up is reference to both images, please. Also the one above it with the calculation. All right, so in episode 4 of Symphogear XV, the group known as Noble Red created a pyramid that was stated to be 380,000 kilometers long. Obviously, that's somewhat vague, but for the sake of simplicity, I just decided to go with that also referring to the height of it, which, when you do that to get volume and applying hollowness since the Symphogear characters were inside of the pyramid, well, they survived the destruction specifically of it, which left nothing behind. This resulted in an energy that I calculated to be about 748 zetatons of TNT, which is planet level, which should be consistent with the feat from reference number 5. If we can get reference 5 up. The one above it. That one we'll get to in a second. All right, so for this is the Superb Song. This is the strongest attack that a Symphogear character can utilize. As you can see, it is going from Earth to all the way far into outer space. Utilizing the Earth's height, I was able to just straight up get the energy output, the kinetic energy essentially, of the attack. A Superb Song alone wields the energy of 7.36 ronatons of TNT, which is already a large planet. But there is potential to go further if we go with the image below it. Because if we go back to the pyramid thing, the pyramid was also destroyed by someone known as Carol, who stated that her song alone has the phonic gain or power of 7 billion Superb Songs. And Hibiki would go on to defeat her. So, taking that literally, I multiplied the output of one Superb Song by a 7 billion, which gets about 2 kilofo, or solar system level. The latter is admittedly something you should take with a grain of salt, since she might be exaggerating, but it is still interesting potential.
I mean, even without that, large planet level is definitely a good thing to be at as like a low ball.
Yeah.
So, can Kasumi body a planet?
Yeah, probably. So the weird thing about Persona, right, is that the best you can get for in like the planetary ranges is the moon feat from Persona 3, where Nyx pretty much moves the moon. The rest of the stuff we get into is universal. So there is Mada from the Persona Compendium. His statement is that he can swallow the entire universe. And there's also Kyori's statement of moving all of creation. And we know that these statements, there is a straight up a feat of a universal feat. It's when Yaldabaoth, who is the big bad boss of the third act before we get into like the third semester, Yaldabaoth merged the metaverse and reality together. So this would be like obviously all of reality merging with the reality of everyone's minds, which would at minimum be a universal feat, but you could argue for much higher. So just as a baseline, Violet would be scaling to universal level of attacks and pretty much universal durability as well.
All right, but is Kasumi present for the fight against Yaldabaoth?
No, but she is present for the fight against Maruki, and Maruki is directly stated to be stronger than Yaldabaoth.
Oh, I see.
And that's before his persona evolves.
Yeah.
Right. So definitely more powerful than what I've brought up.
Well,
yeah,
she can take hits that level.
But there are
Kasumi produce power that level.
Yes, because she can harm Adam Cadmon. she is capable of harming him. Actually, I think her and all the Phantom Thieves even hold back a full powered punch from him. So,
Oh.
you know.
Shoot, she has experience dealing with punches. I'm
Oh
doomed.
no, she has the anti-punch feat.
Can she hurt Adam Catmon? Because they said that they could barely even scratch him when they were fighting him.
I mean, the fact that they're able to, like, even if you want to argue, like, oh, Adam Cadmon was, like, extremely powerful, like, so strong that they could barely scratch him, the fact that she's able to, like, hold back a punch from him is still impressive in of itself, you know?
Is this like Kasumi alone, or is this like the combined might of all of the thieves, like, blocking a punch?
Yeah, it would be the combined might, but still, that's impressive.
Combined might without Joker, by the way.
Without Joker. Joker is the strongest Phantom Thief, so the fact that he's not there further, like, makes this feat more impressive, you know?
Joker and Maruki were just out there busy having their 1v1 Fox only final destination, no items.
The feels, man, the feels.
Yeah. For a low end, actually, if you
The
want to
feels.
for Sumeri, like I said, there's the moon feat. Nyx moves the moon. There's also the fact that Jack Frost, like King Frost, actually was stated to freeze the entire world. So she would also get like large planet levels of energy, like pretty easily. But like I said, those are like very low ends for her.
All right. So definitely sounds like she does.
All right.
It seems like they scale at least somewhat close to each other in terms of like raw power. Because like if she can tank part of a universal.
Well,
For Hibiki, I will later on probably bring up some other more powerful stuff, but that stuff I'll get to later since that's less defined of how canon it is, I guess. But it'll be worth bringing up when it happens.
I mean, we're on the subject of power, so even if it's dubious canon, why don't you just bring it up now, just so we have like a ballpark estimate of like.
All right.
Power.
All right, so this is going to get into the weirdest part of Symphogear. For several years, Symphogear had a mobile game running known as Symphogear XD Unlimited, which, from what I could find, seems to have some semblance of taking place in the same time as the main series itself, just essentially diverging off. But the basic point of it is that there's another relic known as, I believe it's pronounced Galahorn, if I'm correct, which is described as linking parallel worlds together. When looking at the definition of parallel worlds on the Symphogear wiki itself, it explicitly describes them as being a multiverse.
So we're getting into that, are we?
I believe if I'm remembering correctly, there were about 13 of these. Right off the bat, I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to be using the crossovers. There have been several crossovers with Symphogear over the years, with some tame ones that are way weaker than Symphogear, such as Attack on Titan, to ones that get absurd, such as Saint Seiya and Godzilla and Ultraman. But those ones I refuse to believe could be used as canon. The main thing here is that with these, you could potentially argue Hibiki being even stronger. How much stronger, I'm not sure. But it's there. I just wanted to put it out there and take it with a grain of salt. It's questionable if it's usable even.
All right, but do you have like an estimate ballpark of like where it would put her strength besides just an unspecific amount of stronger?
Again, if we go by how many known parallel worlds there are, from what I counted, there are approximately 13 or so. So we could say she's, if you want to say that each world is just a universe in of itself, that would be about 13 times universal. again, the other issue is there's not really much to scale her with it itself. The main argument I would use would be saying that, well, there's the whole thing with the relic, and Hibiki herself is powered by a relic. It's a bit of a stretch, but the argument does exist.
Okay.
All right, well, Jack, James, do you buy that? It is your pitch matchup, though. You get final say on whether it's considered for the debate or not.
Well, Symphogear as a whole just feels a bit under-researched, so it's really hard for me to say whether or not this is really that acceptable. What say you, James? Yeah, looks
It's
like
a
we're
bit
good so on this.
All right, so
But if
It's
we
a
are
bit
going...
weird. That's all I'm gonna leave it as.
yeah, Kasumi definitely better has the more consistent power scaling when it comes to like damage output.
I won't even deny that. I just knew I was against Persona. I was ready to just bust out whatever I could out of desperation.
Fair.
Well,
Should we get into speed now?
yep,
All right.
because like power is only one part of this equation of who would win in a fight. So let's get into speed feats, because all that power won't matter if you can't land the killing blow.
Yeah. I had more power stuff, but I don't think we need to get into cosmology now.
Please don't do that to me.
Yeah.
Give
Okay.
me the outer
He's already
cosmology.
dead.
Don't do this to me.
Oh, yeah,
no.
fine. We're going to speed. We're going to speed. Okay.
All right.
Could you bring up Joker Zoom? Yeah, Joker Zoom. Because this is a feat that Joker does that Violet would absolutely scale to. Okay, so this is for Lucifer's Morning Star, in case you're wondering. Death Battle calced it at 8 million times faster than light, but it could get much higher. As we see here, 40 stars, 14.4 light years, 170 million times faster than light. So that is where Sumeri's starting at, massively faster than light right there. Should I keep going with the speed feats, or do you want to start with your own?
I mean, I'll bring up Symphogear speed. I don't know if I'm coming even close to that, but I'll just bring up to establish Symphogear speed, I guess. So I guess the first one is I want to establish feats and I want to establish Hibiki being able to dodge lasers. So can we bring up the web archive GIF that from reference 1 first? This might. All right, there we go.
Oh, that's good animation right there. I have to
Yep.
say.
All right, so that's the GIF. So now if you could bring up image 3 from reference 1.
He was moving.
Should the ancient tales be true, it is not only capable of bending light to create optical camouflage. This is in reference to the relic that I'm not to the relic or armor that I'm not even going to try and pronounce the name of that the possessed Miku was wielding at the time. And if you could now bring up image number 2. All right, so a fragment of a mirror relic that Fine left in the care of the US government. Using mechanical methods that were derived from the Symphogear system, they were able to equip it to their large-scale helicopter, the air carrier. Like all mirrors, its special properties are based on the ability to reflect light. One of these properties, Wizardry Stealth, cannot not only make the helicopter invisible, but also give off oscillations that cut it off its signal from enemy monitoring equipment. In ancient times, the mirror was said to have properties of driving away curses and purifying bad luck. As a mirror, its most potent and basic ability is its ejecting a brilliant radiance and reflecting back in ideal form. The mirror's most important role is releasing the sealed frontier that lies in the middle of the ocean. However, it's not an easy task, as mechanically amplifying its power is an imperfect implementation of the relic and has already been confirmed not to work. The basic important part here is it confirms that the light itself was directly reflecting off of mirrors, an important part to establish that something can be light speed. And Hibiki was, well, repeatedly dodging these even while in the middle of a battle. To further support that Hibiki can reach solid high speeds, I'd like to bring up first from reference for the GIF from Web Archive. All right, and now could you bring up the calc for it?
What did the anime villain do?
Tried to grab a piece of the moon.
Oh,
So basically, the important thing here is that Fine launched a whip at Hibiki, which Hibiki dodged.
Yeah.
But this whip flew to the moon. It's a simple calculation. It traveled there in about 12 seconds, which is 10% the speed of light. That's relativistic according to Versus Battle Wiki. Obviously, nowhere near as fast as what was established for Persona, but I'm just establishing Symphogear stuff at this point.
it's
mean,
not that bad. That's not bad speed at all.
Yeah, like, if you were facing any other opponent, that would have been a great calc.
That's basically all I have for speed, though.
Okay.
Oh,
So Kasumi's a lot faster.
Pretty
Yep.
much.
All right. And you know, considering Hibiki's arsenal is mostly just punches, I think she also has a bit more of a more versatile moveset as well.
Kasumi, she can heal. She casts light magic. Her main thing is casting light spells to do bless damage. I'm pretty sure it'll just be neutral damage to Hibiki because Hibiki's not weak to light at all.
No.
Yeah, so it will just be neutral damage. But she does have like some physical attacks as well. And she has her passive, which if you remember, there's a 50% chance if an opponent attacks her, they will miss their attack.
Okay, so I do want to ask a question regarding that. Does that apply to physical attacks only, or does that also apply to, say, projectiles?
I will read the description right now. Let's see. It automatically halves the enemy's accuracy against all attacks directed towards the user.
So, directed towards the user. So, if Hibiki just punched in the opposite direction of Sumire but hit her with AoE anyway, would that activate it or no?
I guess I would have to test it out in the game and see if, like, you know, you get hit by this, if the ability activates or not, if the enemy does an AoE. But I'll say for now, I'll assume, yeah, that would probably work because it says directly attack the user. So if Hibiki were to throw a direct punch at Kasumi, there's a chance that the attack will just straight up miss. But if she does an AoE that's not directly attacking Sumire, I keep calling her Violet, then there's a chance that that won't activate the ability. It will just straight up hit her.
Right. I do want to establish a few, I guess, other attacks for Hibiki while I'm on the Symphogear wiki, bringing them up, since she does have some stuff other than just punches. She can form barriers, most notably the energy shield, which is a triangular-shaped shield. As mentioned, a lot of her punches just specifically create massive blasts of energy. One of her forms has let her create giant fists behind her, because why have 2 fists when you can have 4? And also, as mentioned, there's the Superb Song, which is the giant blast of energy that went all the way into outer space. Though it's worth noting that with that one, that would be a basically last resort option, as most of the time when people have successfully pulled it off, it leaves them nearly dead.
Yeah, just ask the last person who had Gungnir.
What happened to the last person who used Gungnir?
You can't ask her.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, I'm busting into the stream. I'm here now. What's up?
Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh,
So I've been watching the stream and I like where y'all are going with this, but I just had some questions that I had to ask.
All right.
I'm getting the general gist of what they got going on. It seems like Hibiki is a very kind of almost Dragon Ball style fighter. They have punches and they're very good at punching. Punching is their main thing, right?
Yeah, she is, and I quote, "She is powerful, she punches the best."
I punched him.
Nice. So she also has like energy blasts, energy shields, that kind of thing.
She has some specialty stuff like that, but yeah, most of her stuff is either punches or punch and then just big AoE that comes from the punch.
So that makes sense to me. What does Violet actually do? Like, how does Violet fight? Like, what would that look like?
She fights with a rapier, mostly like Mitsuru, kind of. She is like a fencer. She has a sword, so she stabs people. She can cut them up real good with her. She also has a gun. I forgot to mention that.
Okay.
She also has a
I
gun.
think you've not mentioned the neutral special.
Yeah, I forgot to mention the neutral special. Yeah,
She's got a gun!
Sumere has
Her
a gun.
neutral special.
She can shoot the gun at Hibiki.
Her
Oh,
neutral
no.
special.
Hibiki, run!
So it's
For
the
what it's
general
worth.
idea of the debate we have going so far.
She
I
has her
would make that
persona,
joke
of
actually, but
course.
Hibiki has bought someone whose entire specialty is just being a walking military arsenal, so
She's used to guns.
yeah.
Oh, very much so.
she seems like the kind of person to bring her fist
Nothing
to a
new to her,
gunfight and then
basically.
win.
That's
Oh
fair.
no,
Yeah.
she brings her fist to an anything
Very
fight and then
much
just comes
so.
out on top.
So the general idea for this fight would be
Yes!
Hibiki
That
is
is basically
trying
Hibiki.
to attack Violet, and Violet would be trying to stab Hibiki,
That's Hibiki
because
for
that's
ya.
their fighting style. Would it be
Yeah.
essentially like the debate is Hibiki is too slow to land like their normal attacks, but their AoE would just nuke everything, while Violet
much.
would be just trying to like stab her or like I guess that's the main strategy is just outspeed and stab.
I mean, Violet has some options. She has her light magic, of course, which is a ranged spell attack, so it's not like she's lacking in AoE herself. She can cast like a bunch of light spells, which really do affect a large area.
Okay.
I think in the Persona 4 anime, it shows like the AoE is very large. Not as large as the whole planet thing, you know, where they DBZ blow up the moon or something, you know. But it's still a relatively large area.
Okay.
So
Do we have any
she's-
other big things we want to bring up, like debate-wise? Like, I want to put this out before we start wrapping this up.
I can't
Well,
believe that Sumire is getting outraged by someone whose whole thing is punching, and more punching.
there is one last thing I forgot to bring up.
Okay.
What's up?
What about that?
Could you bring up Omnipotent Orb?
Oh no!
No.
Why are you doing
here we
this?
go.
Oh god, not the orb.
Why must
Not
you do
the
this?
orb. Not the orb.
Oh
No.
no!
Okay,
I
okay.
cannot read that.
Weakness.
Not
Language
the
I can't
orb.
read.
Okay. So Ferret, I'll let So
Oh,
I'll
God,
just
I can't
describe
read
this right now,
Japanese.
but I will allow the pictures decide if Sumeri has this, because there is an argument that she doesn't have this, but there is like, I can see it both ways, but
She doesn't get it. She's not gonna get it.
Yeah, I'm not good with going with the whole customizable thing,
She does not
customizable arsenal thing
get
like
it.
this, unless it's explicitly the protagonist for Persona. Keep
Yeah.
the orb away.
okay.
If I may actually give my 2 cents on it, since I have played Persona
No
5 a good
orb!
amount.
No.
From what I remember, items like consumable items and items in general, like the omnipotent orb, from what I remember, aren't something where every party member can use them. I believe it's something where only the protagonist themselves
Really?
can choose to activate it.
I'll have to check then. I don't remember. It's been a while since I played Persona.
Great, call out the Death Battle fanbase more. Just what we needed.
Consumable,
True!
That was
True!
but
perfect
if you want to
timing.
know, consumable items can be used by the other members.
Huh.
It is something that they can use, like straight up. They can use like the gems and the spirit, the snuff souls, and all that.
So if she had the omnipotent orb, would that essentially make her immune to any damage?
Yes, essentially, what the omnipotent orb does, if you allow this, it basically bends the laws of the universe so that no attacks can harm her. And the only thing that can really get past it is if you somehow have an attack that overwrites reality, like almighty attacks.
But what if Hibiki's punching you from a different dimension?
Remember that parallel worlds? Remember that whole thing I said of the properties I did bring up? Could that hypothetically work?
Ooh, that's a good point.
did
Because
say
it's
that
the
it
laws of a
strikes
different
all
dimension
parallel-
because she's punching you from the neighboring dimension.
Hmm.
Wait, can
That's-
she punch and then hit, like, the real human Violet would feel it from the different dimension and
No,
just kill the
That's
real
not
human
that's
Violet?
not how it works. Violet is
Oh.
in the metaverse itself. It's just that she now gets powers, basically.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it is the
Alright.
same Violet. It is like, it's not like, oh, they astral projected themselves. No, they physically enter the metaverse.
Holy shit! She punched so hard that that Violet's sister felt it.
Oh my god!
Bruh. You have lost the moral debate.
Oh no, I lost every debate.
Dude!
Kagurabachi lost the moral debate when he admitted to playing Moon Knight. Let's be real.
No!
I can overlook that.
Okay, I played a thing in Marvel Rivals too.
Okay, I respect that.
I played the thing. Like, anytime I see that there's no tank, I'll usually play the thing.
I am a tank and support player. I respect people who go tank or support.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, here's the thing.
I don't see him.
Oh my god. Marvel the thing.
So I have started the poll. So I guess, like, we could have some final thoughts on the
Oh,
debate.
come on. That
but
old joke.
I guess
right.
the question I have primarily is, like, what's the appeal of this fight? Is there anything, like, particularly interesting you can do with the dynamic?
Go nuts,
James, you
Mike.
want the floor on this one? I don't think we can hear you, James.
James
Swag, we can't hear you.
is muted, or we cannot hear him. Jack, do you have any idea why this fight's good?
Really, it is mostly just the whole musical aesthetic we have going on here. I always imagined Sumire being the more defensive fighter as opposed to Hibiki, who's of course the more offensive. And given her background as a gymnast, she usually has more appeal to chances of like dodging attacks just as they're showing up. It's really a stylistic kind of fight.
Well, yeah, we never really brought this up, but, like, it is Symphogear. In what way is Hibiki related to the symphony that the show is named after?
I did bring this up earlier. Basically, the whole concept behind it is that to even just transform in the first place, they have like their special songs that they have to sing, and then throughout fights they'll be constantly singing, which essentially is what powers them to which essentially is what gives them their strength that they need.
So is Hibiki just beating some ass the whole time while she's throwing hands and singing?
Quite-
Is that how this is working?
So quite literally, what will be happening is she will be beating the heck out of her opponents while also singing.
Okay, all right, so
I
that's
love-
cool. That's cool.
She wins not only the
Interesting.
physical fight, but also he wins the moral fight.
Okay, okay.
Exactly.
So it's almost like it
Can you
would
hear me
be
now?
like a music video of a fight. Oh yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, if you wanted a music theme, Death Battle has gone on about wanting a musical episode.
Okay.
I had like this entire slide set up like for the pitch, and it's like I went kind of. It took me more than a week, but it was very much worth it.
I think like from what I know about both the kind of dynamic one of the things that I've recently been envisioning would I guess make this fight work well is if you remember specifically Virgil versus Sephiroth. I'm remembering the scene of Sephiroth fending off against Virgil utilizing Beowulf. I think that does show that a sort of sword versus fist dynamic can work, and if anything can get really fluid and just well choreographed easily.
Yeah, I was about to mention like I for the dog, I still for like explaining the fight dynamic. I took episodes like Sephiroth versus Virgil and Tanjiro versus John, and show that sword versus fist can work well if done right.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can definitely have a swords versus fight.
Yeah,
I see the appeal of this matchup. I definitely see why people like it.
I've been saying this
Like,
a lot recently.
It's like
It's
Warhammer Stranger.
oh, go.
Go on.
I was saying,
You can-
to me, this is a matchup that definitely grew on me a lot, and at this point, it's easily competed very well for just being. Quite frankly, it's a very strong contender for my favorite matchup for Hibiki in general.
Really?
I do quite like it a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I guess do we have any final thoughts on who wins the fight? I don't know if you can sway the chat anymore. I don't know if y'all are seeing the poll, but they seem relatively secure in their vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, Symphogear hasn't been given the like total in-depth research, but just from what we know so far, El Persona stats.
Yeah.
Persona go burr.
So do you just want to go on to voting? Like who y'all think's winning?
Sure.
Alright, so Polaris, who do you think wins?
Well, from what I've heard, I think if it was equal stats, you probably have a decent argument to be made there. It's not equal stats though, and it sounds like Violet's stats are just way higher.
Yeah, I didn't even got into cosmology.
I just didn't feel like there was a whole lot you could do to get past that. So I'm voting Violet.
No cosmology this time.
Zoro, do you have anything to say on the matter?
Yeah, just I'm kind of in a similar boat, like definitely like neither of these characters are weak, but considering the sheer scale of like Persona characters, like I bet Hibiki has like a better range and could probably bypass some of the more evasive stuff, but I think the raw speed and power is just like something the Hibiki hasn't really encountered before, so my vote would also go for Kasumi.
Okay.
Jack of all trades, do you think any different?
Yeah, this matchup isn't exactly known for being debatable. I'm gonna have to go with Violet, but I won't be surprised if that Japan exclusive mobile game has anything that may even the odds or whatever. It just
would be
really matters on more
interesting to
Symphogear
research
research,
that,
but
maybe,
for the time being, yeah, voting for Violet.
Swag, do you concur?
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to go with Violet for this one.
Alright. And I will end the poll with Violet has won with 88% of the vote.
All right, bring up SMT scaling.
Oh wait.
All right.
No!
You
Yes,
already
Chad,
won
kill
with a
this man.
clean sweep. She's already dead.
All right, that's it.
No, it's not.
You know,
You're bringing SMT
I didn't,
into
you
this.
know what, I didn't lose 100%, in, so I'm just going. You know what? I didn't lose 100 to nothing, so I'm fine enough.
You got
Bro, what is this art?
11% of
This
the
is
vote.
cursed.
think we're
Strange,
confusing
I am
your
allowing
orders.
that. Strange, I am allowing that previous universal stuff from this.
This is cursed.
This is
God
my joke
damn.
art that I made for the fight. I wasn't actually gonna argue for SMT scaling, okay, guys?
For your
Too
sake,
late.
I hope not.
You've crossed the line already.
You crossed a line when you brought up the omnipotent orb.
You already crossed that line. On the
You
way to the
crossed the
Grand
line when you
Canyon.
started bringing up their arsenal.
Damn.
We crossed the line as soon as
I
as
shouldn't.
you started
You're
bringing
saying
up
I should have
universal
straight
stuff.
up have normal high schooler Kasumi fight against this Dragon Ball Z magical girl?
Dude, like, the line is not
You
even
saw
there
too much,
anymore.
Girl.
We passed that line so long ago. It's not even funny.
I mean, to be fair,
We left the line in an alternate dimension.
And then we punched that dimension.
Oh, God.
I think if you squinted, you could like say like with the multiversal stuff, they could have similar AP arguments. In terms of speed, like if she's able to punch something and it reaches another universe, wouldn't that be like a crazy speed feat for like the energy to travel from one universe to another?
So for Hibiki, it's not like a speed thing. It's just like it's more so that it just hits on a. It's like it's less of a the punch travels that and more it just hits one thing and then all other things that are tied to that one thing get hit by it at the same time as well. Essentially,
So it's
I'm
like a
trying-
domino effect.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not really something. If it could have been equated to speed, I would have absolutely brought that up instead of my 10% the speed of light versus 170.
The only way-
Yeah.
The only way I see Hibiki winning is if she's able to travel to another dimension and just domino Violet from someone else.
Okay.
I will at least say this. I do think that equal stats wise, Hibiki does have much better arguments thanks to the AoE.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say, StrangeFate, we really appreciate you bringing any kind of Symphogear knowledge. Most of us in the fan battlecast team didn't know how to even start approaching it. So thank you for even these feats which did not help you win the fight are very good to know just for in general to have an idea of where the characters sit at more or less. So thank you for that.
Symphogear
very
was
happy to help.
interesting. I really did like the animation and the gifs you showed.
It's a very good series. Right off the bat, obviously, if you're like a fan of magical girl stuff, I'd recommend it. But I'd also heavily say if you're a fan of something such as say Kamen Rider, Symphogear is very much something that would be up your alley.
Oh, that's
It's a lot of
I like
genres
Kamen
mixed
Rider.
into
I
Yeah,
just
it's like it very much takes heavy inspiration from a lot of genres and somehow seamlessly blends them together well.
that's great.
I guess before we end the stream, do the pitchers want to say anything about why they think the matchup is so cool and should happen?
Jack, you can go first.
Well, apart from creator's bias, as time went on, I got to really know both series, the characters, and it's all said and done, I just really think this would make a very stylistic musical matchup.
Okay. Are there any like thematics besides just like they are musical in theme?
Plenty.
Well, more. Well, there is a lot more. Do you want like the concise stuff?
Maybe just like a concise version of why the connections between the two are cool would be good.
So, like, the basic. Like, I wrote this down here. So, cheerful young girls that, despite how others see them, struggle with depression and survivorship caused by past events involving the sacrifice of another, namely Sumeri's sister Kasumi and Kanadeyamo, but put on a cheerful facade to hide it. Later on, having several bouts of dealing with their past, will ultimately hold their heads up high with a bright smile on their face. That's like the basic gist of it. There's a lot more, but that's the basic gist.
This image on the left is the cheerful facade, and on the right is how they're actually feeling. That's what I'm taking away.
How they see you versus how you really are.
Yeah. I'm gonna get out of here. This feels untasteful now. That's cool, though. That's really cool.
Yeah,
And I think with a more
of course,
musical episode, that's the perfect kind of episode to kind of get into the thematics.
Yeah, I feel like the music
Yeah.
track would also go pretty hard.
Oh, it absolutely would. Persona
Yeah.
already has great music, but Symphogear's whole thing is just going absolutely nuts with
But
music.
Symphogear's main gist is the more you sing, the more better you are at fighting. You definitely need to capitalize on that.
It's K-pop.
I would like this matchup just to hear the track that would accompany it.
Yeah, sounds like it would be an incredible,
It does
incredible
sound
track
pretty
to hear, regardless of who composes it.
I had the idea of it being a duet with vocals, but it being an English and Japanese duet.
Oh, I could actually see that being really good.
Oh man, I want that
They would
so
need-
much.
There would need to be a collab for that, but if it's possible and it could be pulled off, then yeah.
Get Xiao on it.
I have like some ideas for English vocals. Japanese vocals is where things get tricky.
Google Translate comes to the rescue.
Google Translate.
But
Google
sometimes
Translate, someone please help me.
there are bilingual artists that will like rhyme the kanji with English words, and it's like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, some people are probably gonna think this matchup isn't cool because of sound factor, but like, to be fair,
It's
a
nothing
Persona
new to
character.
Death Battle.
What isn't a stop
Pulls
match
out the
against a
giant
Persona
ass
character?
list of star matchups.
I'm gonna be
Pulls
honest.
out the giant ass list of star matchups Death Battle has done that people have adored.
I'm gonna be honest. If you hate stomp matches, then you pretty much hate 99% of Persona matchups.
Yeah.
Persona never.
Even the ones that have happened on Death Battle.
Oh, come on. What are you talking about? Joker vs. Jordan was totally debatable.
And I will say, while it does seem like a pretty decisive victory for Violet, it does seem like there is the possibility space for maybe if we dig more into this mobile game scaling, there could legitimately be some higher end stuff.
Obviously, there probably is, but as I said, the main reason I really only busted out the mobile game was it had some vague arguments to use, and more importantly, is I knew I was against Persona. Against any franchise that isn't that high, I probably would not have even busted it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So with all that, thanks everyone for watching. All 6 people here above me right now, no one here has done a cast before. All 6 of them are new, so give them massive props for showing up and making a cool video for y'all. This has been great. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you next time.